Hi, I'm Dave Kale. Welcome to this Christian Business Insights podcast show where my goal is to provide you with practical, actionable ideas to help you create businesses and careers of excellence and at the same time multiply your influence for the kingdom. I have been a Christian in business for over 30 years, and I have personally and contractually consulted with over 500 different sales organizations. So in these podcasts, I combine the lessons that I have learned with an out-of-the-box experience and perspective on Christianity that you will find challenging. And we put that together to provide you with practical insights and ideas that you can use to live better and lead better. Welcome to the journey. Hi, this is Dave. You know, one of the things that I think about a lot, and that is a big part of my approach, is the pace of change. I believe that we are living at a time where the world around us is changing more rapidly than at any time in the history of mankind. And in that kind of world, one of the key issues, really truly key issues, is the ability to change with the world around us. And so resistance to change becomes then a path to mediocrity, and it becomes a real problem. So I want to talk about the issue of change and resistance to change today, but I'm going to talk about it in a way that might be a little bit different for you. So hang on, see if this doesn't apply to you. You know, I am in the middle of a sales manager's training class. Now, inevitably, as we methodically examine in the class the best practices of effective sales managers, someone is going to make a comment like this, quote, well, we do it like this, and then explain how they do it, and in so doing, dismiss everything we've just discussed. I mean, we've just talked about a best practice of some kind, and they just dismissed it by saying, well, we do it like this, as if that was the response, as if that was the answer. And it doesn't matter if the process we're discussing has been proven to be more effective. That doesn't matter, or it doesn't matter if it's the result of some really dedicated people studying the issue. Doesn't matter where it comes from. It's dismissed just because we do it like this. It ends the conversation, ends the whole session. And I understand, that knee-jerk reaction is understandable. Well, in my case, the issue is a best practice for a sales manager. The issue is larger and more common than this narrow application. Whenever we confront a process or a tactic or a strategy or a tool that is more effective, whether it's in our personal life or our business structure, our knee-jerk reaction is often the same. Find a reason to dismiss the change and thus absolve yourself of the responsibility to do it better. The status quo is comfortable. When we consider changing it, our hearts pump harder, our palms become a bit sweatier, while our heads search for multiple reasons why it will never work and shouldn't be considered. Is the status quo automatically better than a well-researched, well-thought-out, proven process that will cause you to change your behavior in order to get better results? Just because something is doesn't mean that it should be. How did that current process or practice come to be? I've worked with hundreds of businesses, and I've found that very few processes and practices were put in place by a team of the best people strategically defining a process to get the best results. Very, very few. The reality is that the current position, whatever it is, was probably put in place sometime in the undefined past by people unknown, probably to address a crisis situation. It got repeated and eventually got codified into routines that eventually manifest as, quote, we do it this way, end quote. Most of the practices and procedures are there in place because, they're there. Not because they were strategically designed, because they just happened to rise up sometime in the past and get codified, and nobody knows exactly why. So if that's the case, and again, that's my anecdotal experience, why is it then so common for people to just out of hand reject a change in routines without even considering the consequences? I suspect that the majority of humankind fears change and shuns the investment of energy and ego necessary to see it through. Not that this is new. Machiavelli said, quote, "It must be considered that there's nothing more difficult to carry out, nor more dangerous to handle than to initiate a new order of things." Yet, what is true for most people is not necessarily true for all. There are people among us who are responsible for much of the progress in this world. They begin with a healthy self-confidence and are motivated by what I call the more mindset, the more, M-O-R-E, mindset. And the mindset is just a way of looking at the world and seeing that there is more to accomplish, more to become, more to achieve than what we currently have. There is more than what is defined by the status quo. Add to that a seasoning of courage, and you have the recipe for a high-performing, successful person and an influential company. It takes courage to put your status quo up for inspection. It takes self-confidence to say, there may be a better way. And it takes the more mindset to add fuel to the process. Building a business is a challenging effort, and it calls on us to make changes at the core level. And this issue of accepting the need to change, accepting the need to challenge the status quo, not once but continually, that is a success strategy for the most successful people who are equipped with that set of strategies will not be dismissing any best practices with, quote, "we do it this way," as if that were the answer. So the next time you're confronted with a new idea or a new process or a new practice that looks like a better way to do something, rather than just dismiss it out hand because, after all, it's a threat to the status quo, rather than that, take a deep breath and say, is this something I should put into play? Is this worth the time and effort to make a change? And if we don't continually change ourselves and our businesses as rapidly as the world around us, we're going to be falling behind. And so we need to develop an attitude that looks at change and the potential of change much more positively than maybe we have in the past. Speaking of which, we're just gearing up here for our next cohort. We have every year we do a cohort in a program for sales leaders and sales managers. It's called the Excellence and Influence course for sales leaders. It's an 8-session, about a 4-month course. We meet once every 2 weeks in Zoom, and there's some work done online. And it's designed to take sales managers and sales leaders to a place where they're far more effective. And it's been one of the best programs that we've done. I've trained over 2,000 sales managers and sales leaders in the program. So I'll put a link in the show notes. Please take a moment and check it out. We'll be enrolling we're starting to enroll for the next cohort right now. Okay, that's it. We're done. Bye-bye.